Damned if you do, damned if you don't. Democrats criticizing Trump, who extended the ceasefire. Let's welcome former Trump State Department official and Iranian refugee, Ellie Cohanim. Ellie, great to see you. Thank you for being here. I got to ask, it's kind of a rhetorical question after what you just heard, but do Democrats care more about Trump losing than they do about America winning against a regime, by the way, that's been at war with us for 47 years?
David, it's good to be with you. And Democrats, I don't know why they seem so confused. President Trump, from the first day, has told us what our goals and what the mission set is for Operation Epic Fury. And what we've seen is that Epic Fury, in fact, was a tremendous military success. We really took out, something like 80 to 90% of Iran's military capabilities. And then we shifted to economic fury, which is exactly where we are right now. The president, with his blockade of Hormuz, is strangling the remnant Islamic Republic regime financially. They are on the verge of financial collapse. Let's remember that their currency right now is worthless. They have already had a run on their banks in Iran, and they're struggling, as the president referred to that, they're struggling to pay their Basij and IRGC militia. So put all of that together, and again, the loss of $500 million a day in oil revenue, we have time on our side, and they do not.
Well, and to quote one of those people that we just heard, it doesn't seem like they are holding all the cards. It seems like we are.
Oh, yeah, David, absolutely. And look, we have time on our side, but the president might change his mind at any moment and decide to restart our kinetic activities if he so decides. On the other hand, as I referenced, they are on the verge of financial collapse. The Islamic Republic regime cannot continue to exist with the blockade because they are literally going to run out of funds. They are desperate for cash, David, and we've heard this amidst the earlier negotiations that they've been trying to get sanctions relief. They've been trying to get access to funds that have been locked up in certain countries. And David, I also want to point out that one of the key sticking points right now is that we've succeeded in fracturing the regime. And the president has laid that bare to the world. The world now knows that there is a huge division now between the political leaders and the IRGC. And that's also a very interesting point for the Iranian people to understand that these so-called leaders cannot even get their own act together right now to present the United States with a deal.
But are there any political leaders? I mean, we know that the IRGC commander, the Republican Guard commander, Ahmed Vahidi, he seems to be calling the shots. I mean, any kind of sense of a political leader per se seems to be gone in Iran now.
Well, David, in direct conversation and negotiation with the United States were Pezeshkian, the president, Ghalibaf, the former Speaker of the Parliament, and Araghchi, the foreign minister. So those are the characters I would call the political figures. And I would tell you, David, that as much as I disdain all of them, those three seem to have a little bit more of a realistic perspective. The reporting that we were hearing is that they understand they're on the brink of financial collapse, and the regime is going to literally fall if they don't come to the table. So they're running out of options. Whether the IRGC under Vahidi understands that or not, there's no good options for them, and that's why President Trump has the luxury of waiting it out, because we are at the advantage point right now.
And by the way, just a final note, which is that for all those Democrats giving more credit than is due to the Iranians, that guy Vahidi, who's the head of the Republican Guard, who's calling a lot of the shots now, he was directly linked to the bombing of the Marine barracks in Beirut in 1983 that killed 241 U.S. troops, 220 Marines and Navy men and Army as well, and other terrorist attacks, one in Argentina that was directed at children. So these people that some Democrats almost seem to be siding with are just horrific human beings, and I can't wait for them to be gone. I think a lot of Iranians like yourself feel the same way. Ellie, thank you so much for being here.
Absolutely.